Have you ever noticed that the more you think about reality, the further away it seems to move? No matter how refined our concepts become, something essentially remains just out of reach. What is that? In this video, I want to explore a radical insight from the standpoint of the great wisdom traditions. And that is, existence itself cannot be grasped conceptually. And that this mysterious more is what the sages called Sat-Chit-Ananda. Pure being, pure awareness, pure bliss. Not as a belief, not as a philosophy, but as the very fact of what you are right now. The mind has incredible power. It can name, categorize, compare, analyze. But there's one thing it cannot do. It cannot step outside reality and look at it from a distance. Every concept you have is about something. A person, a memory, an object, even an idea of God or consciousness. All of these appear within the field of your experience. Notice this for a moment. Right now, there are sights, sounds, sensations. There are thoughts coming and going. All of them are known. But the fact that there is experience at all, the sheer there-isness of this moment cannot be turned into an object. You cannot hold it in your hand. You cannot put it in front of you and look at it. Although you can look at it as a mirror of yourself. So it is the background of everything that appears. When we say existence cannot be grasped conceptually, we are not dismissing the mind. We are simply acknowledging its limit. The mind can describe what appears in existence, but it cannot capture the isness that makes appearance possible. Think of awareness as light. Light illuminates everything in a room, but the light itself is not one of the objects it reveals. Similarly, awareness illuminates all your experiences, your body, your emotions, your memories, your spiritual ideas, but awareness itself is not just another thing you can observe from outside. When awareness tries to grasp awareness, it creates an image, a concept, something like awareness is a vast empty space, or awareness is the witness sitting behind the eyes. Little Deepak here, looking out through the eyes, can't find him. Therefore, the sages realized ultimate reality is not something we can objectify. It is not something you can have. It is what you are. That's why all the great traditions, in their most mature expressions, start to become silent. They speak in paradox, in poetry, in negation. Not this, neti, neti. They are gently undoing every attempt of the mind to turn the infinite into an object. So this brings us to a very popular phrase, the Mahavakya as it's called in Vedanta, Sat-Chit-Ananda. Sat means pure being, pure existence. Not a being among many beings, but the one limitless isness that everything shares. The chair exists, the body exists, this thought exists, joy and sorrow both exist. What is common to all of them is not a particular shape or quality, but the simple fact that they are. If you strip away every description, every story, every label, what remains is just this undeniable sense. There is. Sat is that bare isness, there is, before it becomes I am this or I am that. You cannot put Sat in front of you and examine it, because by the time you call it this or that, you've already moved into limitation. Sat is the limitless being that is never an object, because it is the being of all objects. Now, the second part of that Mahavakya, Chit, pure awareness. Being is not inert, it is self-revealing. It knows. Every experience you've ever had shares this one feature. It was known. Even the experience of not knowing is known. Chit is that knowingness itself, not my personal mind, not my thoughts, but the open, choiceless, silent consciousness within which the personal mind appears. And here is the key non-dual insight. Sat and Chit are not two. The very being of everything is the very awareness of everything. The existence of this moment and the knowing of this moment are a single reality. You don't have to believe this. You can sense it directly. Before any thought about who you are, there is a simple present fact. I am, and I am aware. That undeniable I am aware is already Sat-Chit, and it's shining. And finally, the third aspect of the Mahavakya, Ananda, is often translated as bliss. But this isn't an emotional high or a spiritual fireworks show. It's not like taking ecstasy. It is pure bliss. Why would pure being and awareness be blissful? Because Ananda is the quiet, unshakable fullness of that which is complete in itself. It is not threatened by coming and going. Forms arise and pass. Thoughts change, roles shift. But the basic fact of being aware is never harmed. When identification relaxes, when you're not clinging so tightly, I am this body, this story, this ongoing problem, something very simple begins to shine through. A sense of deep okayness, a spacious contentment that does not depend on circumstances. That is Ananda. Not something you acquire, but something that reveals itself. It reveals itself when you stop looking for completion in objects and rest as the completeness that you already are. So let's turn this from theory into direct exploration. Right now, without moving, notice that there is experience. There is sensation of the body, there are sounds, there may be thoughts about this video. All of that is changing, but the fact that it is appearing is constant. Stay with the simple recognition. There is experience, and it is now. Now look a little deeper. Isn't it also clear that this experience is known? Somehow, effortlessly, it is registered. Can you find a clear boundary between the field of experience and the awareness that knows it? Or are they in fact inseparable? This inseparable being aware, this Sat-Chit, is not an idea. It is the most intimate reality of this very moment. And if you don't fight what appears, if you don't insist that this moment should be different, you may notice a subtle relaxation, a quiet okayness that doesn't depend on anything changing. This is a taste of Ananda, not as a peak state, but as the natural fragrance of being what you already are. So when we say existence cannot be grasped conceptually, we are not pushing reality away. We are pointing out that reality is already closer than me and my idea of it. Sat-Chit-Ananda is not a philosophy to adopt. It is a pointer to this simple, incontrovertible fact. You are aware, and in the depth of that being aware, there is fundamental wholeness that has never been absent. So if this resonates, you might rewatch this video, not as information, but perhaps as a guided meditation, pausing wherever a phrase invites you back to the immediacy of your own experience. I thank you for exploring this with me, and I hope you can subscribe to the Chopra Well and share this with someone who's ready to look a little deeper into the nature of reality. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma Tat Tvamasi Aham Brahmasmi.